It's day 3 of my pleasure diet challenge, and I've been interested to really notice the type of language we tend to use around pleasure. Yesterday, on New Year's Day, I decided that I was going to just watch a couple of hours of Stan, and I would usually think of it as a guilty pleasure, right? And it got me thinking how often we pleasure shame, right? We think of things that are just, something that we feel is indulgent, and we shame ourselves or we shame other people. I did notice on Facebook, one person talked about beware that you don't get carried away. Now, I want to say that in my experience, most people don't get carried away. We're living an over-stressful life where we're so consumed with worrying about other people, worried about our to-do list, that we often forget to do something nice for ourselves in that. Now, I recently ran a workshop for women, and I asked them if they did anything that caused them pure pleasure. And all they did was list what they would do for other people, which is great. But when I asked them what they really did for themselves, they couldn't answer the question. Now, I find this interesting because if you think about the airline analogy, you have to put your own oxygen mask on first before you help someone with theirs. So it really is important to do something nice for yourself like you would for someone else. And I'm just talking 5 minutes a day in balance. And it can be really simple things that will make all of the difference. Look, this morning I got up and I've been looking out my window and my trees were a bit overgrown. So I got out there with a saw and some pruners, and now I'm getting pleasure looking out of my window. I also often might get pleasure after I've cleaned the house or changed my sheets, just how that feels. So there is always a balance between the two. But it is interesting that people warn you not to overindulge and that you can only do something nice for you after you've done your work. You sometimes do it the other way around and you've got so much more energy. So I've done a bit of both today. And the thing that I've done for pleasure today is I'm reading The Model Wife, which is a novel. So it's purely for pleasure, not for learning. I'm always learning something, which I love, but this is a book for pure pleasure. But it is really interesting. In this book, she had a bit of a cancer scare, and then she talks about how she's been living her life for everyone else and doesn't even know what makes her happy. Now, I don't want that to be you. So what are you doing today on your pleasure diet that makes you purely happy? And it can be as little as reading a book for an hour. It could be having a bath. It could be a hug. It could be a walk. Getting into nature is wonderful. The simple things in life are often the best. So please, in the comments, share what you're doing that's causing you pure pleasure. And let's stop pleasure shaming ourselves and others, worried that we might get carried away. Anyway, I hope that you are enjoying the first few days in the new year. Bye.